So when I got laid off, I actually did a little bit of tutoring or mentoring, mainly high school students and adult learners in math and programming. And one of the things that I was thinking about doing was actually promoting my services online, because I was mainly remote and over half of my students were throughout the US. So one of the things I was thinking about doing was, hey, maybe I should promote this on social media. Now, I'm not that great with social media, didn't really know how to market, and so one of the places I went to was Score. Now, Score, they basically help small businesses, entrepreneurs with many different things. One of the things I was particularly interested in was their webinars. And I took several social media webinars during that time. And one of the things that came out of those webinars that I said, okay, I could probably do this, is using basically a spreadsheet to implement the strategies that were taught. The problem, though, is they basically wanted you to create this spreadsheet for every month of the year manually, and I tried it and I didn't like it. I'm like, there has to be a better way of doing this. So I created some notes, figured out, okay, well, I could probably program this in Python. So my first round, I decided to just see if I can even do it. And this is basically what I created. It basically allows you to choose if you're going to create content as a content creator or as a entrepreneur. Like, say you already have an existing business, existing product or service, put that in there. And then as a content creator, which is partially what I do also, so I put that in there as well. Now, obviously, I want it to last throughout this year as well as any other year that comes after this. So I made sure to enter the year, what month you want to output, and a nice thing that would be great to have is to have the holidays for your country automatically put in there. So I added that as well. So then I could add the country and then basically generate my calendar from all the selections that I chose. Another thing that I could do is add some custom dates, say anniversary or a holiday that maybe is not an official one for your country. You can add that, or you don't have to at all. And then you could just download your CSV, which you can import into any spreadsheet program. Now, mine outputted, but it outputted for every day of the month, which is just not feasible. It's not feasible for me mainly because I refuse to post to any platform 7 days a week, 30 days in the freaking month, or 31, or whatever month it might be. It's just not possible. I have a family. we have a kid, and I'd rather spend that time with my family than having to post to social media every single day of the week. So I wanted the option to choose which days I wanted to post, and also make sure that I'm cycling through my social media strategy, pretty equally throughout the month. So one of the things I did was completely revamp the code. Now everything is basically the same, but now I have the ability to choose what days I want to output for the month, whether that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or maybe it's just 2 days out of the month, or maybe the whole month. That's totally up to you. Another thing I wanted to try to make sure to do is to make sure the drop down for the countries is really clear, because not everyone knows their 2-digit country code. So I wanted to make it a little bit more readable. Still, everything is functioning the way it should. And when I generate the calendar and do the output for the individual days, you can see, okay, I want Monday, Wednesday, Saturday that I will do my social media post. I chose the calendar for an entrepreneur, and I also wanted to choose for the month of September. Now, when I record this, September's almost gone, so let's go ahead and change that to October instead. So I can just go to my drop down, select October, and then rerun the calendar, generate the calendar, and we see that it now has October instead of September. My new project launch date is in there, which is pretty custom. Now I can edit the date on it. Say if I didn't want to be 1, I want it to be the 3rd. And then I can generate my CSV. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the calendar. So instead of every day of the month, now it's only for those days that I want to post for or can post for. So let's dig in to the actual code. Now I'll speed up through this part, but basically whenever I create any type of feature or do anything major, I always create a new branch. So in this case, I'm going to be adding the calendar logic. I will add my calendar code as a package, mainly because I want to separate it obviously from the Streamlit app itself. And the reason being is I'm not sure anyone's going to find this useful, but I mean I do, and I still want to keep it contained. So if folks don't find it interesting or useful, I can pull it out of this project without much issue, because the only thing I would have to do is pull out the actual folder and pull its page, and that's it. But the rest of my application will be fine. So let's go ahead and create a new directory. In this case, I call it the content calendar because that's exactly what it is. So that's the name of my package. I'm going to go ahead and create the folder, the files for my calendar data, as well as for the logic itself. I'm just going to copy and paste this from my test program because I've already done the work on that, and so I'm just go ahead and bring that in, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the logic because it's already built. I've already tested it. I'm just going to copy and paste it from my original folder. That's why you don't see my mouse, because I have it on another screen, but literally I just copy and paste the code back in. And now I have to do a little bit of house cleaning, basically because I copied this from my other program. I need to go ahead and correct my imports. So I have to make sure that it's importing from the correct location, which is my package. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the home page because the main, because I have already did the test package import before. So I'm just going to copy the syntax here and then edit it with the right package, which in this case will be the calendar data, and have it point to that. Instead of using the test package, I'm going to use the content calendar and then bring in the data. Okay, so before I move on, I like to make sure that my app is still running okay and the code that I added didn't muck anything up, and everything's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the next task. So the next thing I need to do is add some Streamlit, basically configuration files. I forgot to do this before, so I need to do it now. In which case I'll go ahead and add a config toml file, as well as a secrets file, because I'll need both eventually. And the config file, I definitely want to edit that as well, because I am using kind of my own theme, so I want to make sure I add that. And the secrets I will be using to add, basically, it's for another part of the project. Basically adding authentication, so my codes will go in there, my secrets from like Stripe and stuff will go in there, as well as since I'm going to be adding an AI crew, I'll also need to put in my API keys in there as well. So the toml file I'm just copying from my original, but I'm going to be changing some things up. For example, changing the background color from the default, and just kind of making sure that this theme that I have created actually sticks. So So now that I've added this theme, if I refresh, you see that the theme that I added has changed everything, which is fine. I just have to go in here and make some edits. So I'm going to go ahead and change the colors, and it will now be a custom theme. So now it's time to actually add the page, the calendar page, or the form to my app. So here I'm going to go into pages and create my calendar page and bring in the code for it that I've already built. But I also need to bring in the libraries because I use a couple different libraries in here. So I want to make sure that I bring them in using UV pip to install the libraries that my app obviously doesn't have right now. Now I also brought in my home page as an import because there are some parts of the page config that I will be reusing in this page. So instead of rewriting the code, I'm just going to bring in what I've already created. So I'm just going to add it to the page config and bring in the main page code as well that I need to reuse. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and build out the header as well as some of the markdown for the calendar page, and this is just to get the page visible on my app. So I'll go ahead and add that, and the next thing I'm going to go into is main.py and actually add the code to add the page to the application. So I have to link this file and tell Streamlit, hey, there's another page that you need to add to yourself. Alright, so the next thing to see is if the page actually works. So let's go ahead and try to see where the calendar is at, and there it is. Now here is where I discovered a bug in this custom thing. So that sidebar, I collapsed it, right? But now I have no way of getting it back. So here I'm trying to figure out, okay, I know I customized this so much, so I have to figure out exactly how to get that button back. And I'm going to speed through this part, but basically I kind of want to put it in here because that's one of the things they don't tell you, is that sometimes if you edit things or you use like a tutorial, you'll come across these weird bugs that aren't gonna be like an error message. You have to actually kind of figure out, okay, what exactly do I do? What code do I need to touch to actually fix this? Because this is going to be a problem if my user comes in and uses my app and they can't get to the sidebar to, you know, create a calendar or use whatever feature that I insert into this app. So I have to make sure things work. And there are some things that I still need to tweak about this application in general, but that sidebar is definitely needed, and I need that button. So I realized and narrowed down that there has to be something going on with the visibility of the main menu, footer, and header. And so the best way to debug things like this is just to comment it out, period. And then you can uncomment things and see kind of what it does. During this period, I also dug into the documentation. That's why there's pauses, because I'm actually looking at Streamlit's documentation on another screen to see if I can get it back, and I figured out how to get it back. So I've got that working for right now. I also have the menu above that shows, you know, deploy and things like that, different settings. So I think I'm just going to keep the visibility off, or I'm actually going to turn all the visibility back on so that I can make sure that this thing works, and then I'll try to figure out how to get it to work the way I want to when I push it to production. So now I'm testing to make sure that the sidebar opens the way it's supposed to, that when I close it I can still see it, which I do. So I feel like I've fixed this hidden bug and realized, okay, maybe I should just leave the header visible and then just keep certain things. Like I'm kind of testing, like figuring out, okay, what controls what here. So and that's the thing, you just kind of have to figure things out as you go and turn things on and off and see what happens. So yeah, it's fun times. So now that I figured out that bug issue, let's go back to trying to get the calendar to work. So I've added the logic to my calendar here, and again, this is actually basically a refactor from my original setup, with the new and improved functionality, as well as some edits to the original functionality. And so I'm just making sure that my libraries are in there the way I want them to, making sure that everything is connected to everything else. So again, this is my previous version of my social media calendar generator, and then I'm going to test for the other one. And again, I copy and paste my setup from my other one with everything new that I've done, and I kind of did this off camera because honestly, you can create your own calendar. It's not very hard. There's plenty of libraries to do so, so I'm not going to go through the code. I basically show you the libraries that I do use, so if you want to build this yourself, you can easily do so. And now it's just time to test it and see if the code works and looks how I want it to. So here's the main page. Again, I'm going to kind of fix the functionality of the landing page eventually. I just want to make sure I can get it to work. And I'll work on the aesthetics later. So let's go ahead and go to the calendar, and here I am, and everything looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to add some days of the week that I want to have output, and I just love how this refactor for the countries turned out. I love the full name and having the little emoji flags. It just brings it all together. It makes it so much more user-friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and choose US because I know some holidays that should output for September. So I'm going to go ahead and test September just to make sure that those holidays are coming in the way they should. And I'm going to choose entrepreneur as the content that I want to output, and add a custom holiday to kind of test to make sure that that's still working the way it should. And then go ahead and generate the calendar, make sure that's outputting the way I want, and then we'll go ahead and download the CSV. Alright, so let's go ahead and download that CSV and take a look at it, and it looks great. It's brought in the strategy for the days that I actually do want to post for, as well as that special custom one that I wanted, and it's looking awesome. Now I do have certain days left open and free, so in case I do want to do some random post, I can add it in there. But then I can also just keep track of all the KPIs and everything in a spreadsheet, because that's honestly the best way to work with spreadsheets, is to report and track things, right? So if you want to keep following me on this journey of building this micro SaaS, you have to subscribe. If this has helped you in any way, give it a thumbs up, or you found it cool. It helps me in the algorithm. And then in my next set of videos, I'm just going to be implementing other features. Most importantly, I'm going to try to implement an AI crew to help me. Actually, I've been using this crew for a while, but now I just want to actually make it a actual function, because right now it's in Jupyter Notebook and it's kind of a pain to have to keep writing the same code manually, so I want to make it more automated. So if you want to watch that, you have to stay tuned. Anyways, hope to see you in the next video. Alright, until next time, friends.